what have you done with my girlfriend? And I'm like, this gal was always here. She was just in a temporary stupor of depression. In fact, I've got a box of tampons in my cupboard that have been there 4 months, not the number 4, but they have been there for a very long time. Maybe a year. Sugar cravings, fucking story of my life. If you want a fucking chocolate bar and you are crying, eat a chocolate bar. Whatever. You can call me a little fatty, I don't care. You only have to watch Harry Potter or read it to know that chocolate cures depression. If you're a guy that's listening and you're like, I want to know what my girlfriend goes through, she can't quite put it into words. Or I am a guy and I don't have a girlfriend and I just want to know why are women such fucking bitches on their periods. Or if you're a woman or a girl and you are having these issues too, well, join me, my friend. You're all welcome. Wowzers, people. I have made quite the astounding discovery. And that is why I was depressed over the past week. We all knew what was going on, really, but it was just out of my reach, just out of my grasp. I was like, what's going on? Why am I literally fucking depressed? And it all makes sense now. Now, I mentioned that I was on my period. Yes, I did. But I didn't think that was the sort of reason for my dizziness as well. I thought I was just sick. I thought I was unwell. So, but now, today, my boyfriend's like, what have you done with my girlfriend? And I'm like, this gal was always here. She was just in a temporary stupor of depression. I literally went into fucking depression. Like, it's outstanding. It really is. So I'm putting it down to my period. And then I thought, I'm sure lots of other people have got this problem. So then I started doing a little bit of research and I found out that it's called fucking premenstrual depressive disorder. Now the issue is I wasn't premenstrual, I was actually just menstrual. So I don't know whether it is that, but apparently I have fucking period depression. Now, there is a reason why I've managed to avoid this for a long, long time. And apparently it came back because I sort of stopped doing this thing. But I'm going to talk to you about what I have done to avoid getting premenstrual depressive disorder. And we're going to talk about, like, why is that different to PMS? What's the difference? What causes it? Spoiler is that we don't actually know what causes it, but we have a pretty good idea. And I found out what we think it is. I'm also going to talk about my period. So if you're a guy that's listening and you're like, I want to know what my girlfriend goes through, she can't quite put it into words. Or I am a guy and I don't have a girlfriend and I just want to know, why are women such fucking bitches on their periods or before? Or if you're a woman or a girl and you are having these issues too, well, join me, my friend. You're all welcome. Or if you're any other gender that doesn't fit into those ones that I mentioned, I'm not bothered. You can all join. We can talk about periods together. I started my periods. It's going to get pretty TMI, by the way. I'm not going to get like gruesome or anything. Don't worry. I'm just going to be talking quite frankly about periods and the symptoms surrounding that, and also then about my depressive period. Literally my depressive period. But my depressive period of time. Anyway, if I'm not going to be like talking about blood or anything like that, don't worry. I might talk about blood, but probably not. Yeah, I might talk about it a bit, but I don't know. We'll find out. And that's part of the fun. Well, how deep will Dawn really go? I am a doctor, by the way, if you didn't know that. So I can get a little bit, if you're not a medic, it can be a little bit much. But I also note my audience. And I'm like, okay, you're probably not doctors or nurses or healthcare professionals. I don't know. You might be. Hello, if you are. But I'll assume you're not. And I'll assume you're not ready for me to talk about, oh my God, I did something really pretty gruesome the other day. What's kind of weird, okay, this is kind of squeamish alert. This is completely off topic, but this is something that exciting that happened to me the other day as a doctor. I can't really go into details because this patient will definitely know I'm talking about this patient if I go into details. But there was a traumatic injury of undescript nature, sporting injury. And basically, what I find really weird is when I'm doing like sutures or whatever, or I'm doing, I don't know, surgery, because yeah, I actually do that. Yeah, I do. Okay. And so when I'm doing that, I'm like, the weird thing is bones, okay? If you touch somebody's bone, they can't feel it. You might have known that already, but you might not have known, and that's a fun fact for you. If you touch someone's bones, like even if they're still awake, even if you haven't put anesthetic, you can't put anesthetic on bones. Like you just can't inject them. They can't feel it. So if somebody's awake, you've anaesthetised like the skin and tissue around it. This wound was so deep that I like had my finger in it and I was like touching her bones, and I was like, this is kind of weird, because you're awake. Usually I'm used to them being asleep and I can touch their bones at my own free will, but this time I was like, I didn't say anything to her. I did want to touch her bones, like clinically I wanted to touch her bones, because when somebody's had a traumatic injury, you want to check that it's not like broken. Although she had a head scan, so I just told you what part of the body it was. Oh well. Anyway, I could touch her skull, so that was pretty fun. Although she was like, "Please don't talk about bones to me," so I didn't. But I was touching her skull, which was kind of weird because I was like, your brain's right there. And I know that I'm not that far away from my skull when I'm touching here, like when I'm touching my head. And I'm not that far away from my brain. But I don't know why, but it's different when you're actually touching somebody's bones. Anyway, I'm sorry if you didn't want to listen to that. But look, I'm in a way better mood than I was last episode. And I was late on my podcast because I was just dying, quite frankly. I honestly felt like I'd gone into a depression and I was sleeping so much. I'm going to go into what happened basically now, I guess. But it was really hard. This gal right here, i.e. me, is already on antidepressants. So I was like, what the fuck is happening? Do I need to go and get a review from the doctor? Like, what's happened? So my period's just finishing. Now, let's give you some backstory. I don't usually have periods. In fact, I've got a box of tampons in my cupboard that have been there 4 months. 4 months, not the number 4, but they have been there for a very long time. Maybe a year, I don't know, a very long time. And that's because I don't have periods. And I'll tell you why. I know you're asking, why? Why don't you have periods, Dawn? That's weird. Like, you're a woman, aren't you? Of childbearing age, why aren't you having periods? You're not like skinny, so it's not because you're not eating enough. We all know that. No, it's because I'm on the progesterone-only pill. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically a POP, mini pill it's also called, and I've been on it for a very long time, since I was 15. I'm now 28. I actually had a break, blah blah blah, and basically I don't have periods on it, or they're really irregular. Like, I could have one. Basically, I get periods when I miss my pill, which didn't used to happen, but now it happened a few times, over the last few months. But I try obviously not to miss it. It's one you take every day. But when I miss it, then I tend to just have a period straight away. It's just like, oh, I'm ready. It's like the lining of my womb is just fucking ready to go at any point. And it's like dropping that progesterone level, and it's like, no, I don't have heavy periods. It's not like breaking a dam down. I'm very fortunate with my periods, to be fair. I know, working in the hospital, I know that some people are very afflicted with period pain. a lot of people come in with it, and also with heavy periods, and also with like clots as well, because it's got to squeeze its way out somehow. And I don't have that. I've got a pretty good period. I had to have like 1 ibuprofen and that was it, and that sorted me out, to be quite honest. The worst period I've ever had was when I was 14 and I was like at school, and then I had to go home once in my life, and that's it. So I'm doing pretty well. Like I'm very fortunate. But now I've realised that I've got this thing called, I probably have anyway. It has happened a few times, but this one was particularly bad, and I was like, why am I so upset and depressed? I do often cry when I have my periods, I'm not gonna lie. That rhymed. So it all makes sense. When you just figure something out and you're like, wow, how did I not know that? But I was like, wow, I cannot be asked to podcast. I can't be asked to get out of bed. I can't be asked to... I was sleeping for fucking ages, like forever. It was like I was depressed again, but like I didn't go through the like slow slide into depression. It was like, 1 minute you're fine, next minute you are crying in your bed all day. Woo! No, I didn't cry all day, to be fair. But anyway, the other thing I get on my period is like extreme hunger. I can stop eating, but I notice that I need to eat more. And it's not like I'm boredom eating or emotion eating. I'm like at work doing stuff and I'm like, wow, I'm really hungry. So it's like I am actually hungry. And I find that I just need like more food. That was a fucking stupid sentence to say. But I do. I need more food. Like I run out of energy quicker. And I was like, basically I'm on a Ozempic and it's a medication that reduces your appetite. And I was like, this shit isn't working because I'm so hungry. And because I don't usually have periods, I was sort of like, and when I have had periods recently, they've just been like super, super mild because I have just like gone on my pill, like back straight on my pill, and they've just sort of stopped. But this one, I didn't even miss a pill. Like I don't know what was going on, but it just decided to come and there was no stopping it. So yeah, I was at work and I was like super, super hungry. I'd had breakfast, and usually I can have breakfast and then I can last the whole day without food. But I was like, no, I want food. I need food. I'm hungry. I'm like really tired. I'm so tired. And I was like, what's going on? This fucking medication is supposed to stop me from being hungry and it's like not working or whatever. So now it all makes sense. I do get hungry around my periods. Like I often have cravings, and the craving is unfortunately fried chicken. Often I don't fulfill that craving. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm gonna do this on my own without you, fried chicken. I don't need you and you don't need me. We can stay apart and be quite happy. Go our separate ways. But sometimes I do have it, I will be honest. And this period was not one of those times. But I've not had like cravings of like shit food, but I have had just more, I want to eat more. I'm like fucking ravenous. The other thing is I felt really sad, but I wasn't crying. And usually I cry on my period or like just before, and my boyfriend's like, your period's due, isn't it? Because I like start crying. Usually I'm very placid. I don't cry pretty much ever. But as soon as the period comes, here come the fucking tears. They're just ready and waiting. They're like, ooh, that estrogen level just dropped. I'm ready. And I don't know. They're just, I can watch a film and I'm crying. I can sometimes cry for no reason. Like literally, people are like, no, there must be a reason. No, there is no reason. I will just cry. Just because. I don't know what happens. I'll just cry. And the thing is, right, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, she sounds insane. Like, no, this is pretty normal. In fact, I would say this isn't that bad. So calm down. But I'm recounting my issues from the female perspective for the masses. So, people, I'm saying these sentences really slowly. People are fucking hell, Dawn, just speak. What's going on? So I cried at a film the other night. It was kind of funny because I was like, why haven't I cried yet? And then I cried. So that was right on cue. I basically watched a film on Netflix. So if you listen to my last podcast episode, at the end I was like, I'm going to go and watch a rom-com chick flick. I did that and it made me cry. Usually I wouldn't cry, but it set me off. And I'm going to tell you what it was. It was the ending of Love at First Sight. It's like new on Netflix. It's like, sometimes you just want a fucking cheesy rom-com chick flick. Boy meets girl, they kiss and love each other, but is it gonna happen or is it not? So that's what I needed. And I was like, well, I've watched About a Boy, I've watched Clueless, Mean Girls, I've watched them all. And I was like, nah, I'm up for something new. So that's what I chose. I went on to films. I went on to new. And I went on to romantic comedy. And it was there and waiting for me. There was also one called Love at First Kiss. I started watching that. And then it was in Spanish. And I was like, no, I don't want to listen to something in Spanish. I do speak Spanish. Hola. But I was like, no. This is not the time for me to be translating or reading subtitles. I want to fucking mong out. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know if that's PC anymore. But that's, the colloquial term. I just want to mong out and do nothing and not have to, pay attention to what's going on. I'm sure I could probably have figured it out, though, Pretty much all rom-coms follow the same plot line. Okay, another thing that happens is I get diarrhea. I don't know that I need to say any more about that, but I get diarrhea. I don't know. Apparently the sort of things going on in your uterus, they activate or irritate your bowel because they're right next door, and things happen. And I don't shit myself, but it's like, oh, I'd like to come out now. And it's a bit more, it's got a bit more gusto than it normally would. So that's usually an indicator that I'm on my period or that I'm coming on. But I would say I haven't had this sadness for a while, a fucking long time, really long time. So it kind of took me by surprise and I was like, why am I sleeping so much? Anyway, I've done some research because, everybody thinks they've got PMS, right? Oh, I've got PMS. Yeah, well, that's what I thought. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do an episode about my period, right? Because that's what normal people do. And then I started looking it up because I was like, what causes PMS? And then I found this, I was like, why do I get depressed on my period? And then I found something called PMDD, premenstrual depressive disorder, dysphoric disorder. Something like that. And I was like, shit, that's what happened to me. And I know what being depressed is like, okay? I'm not that sleepy normally. I felt like I could sleep forever. I got up, I was like, no, I want to sleep more. Sleep till 5 p.m. It happened. I don't know. And I was like, what's happening to me? And that's why I thought I was sick. I was just like, oh, I just need to sleep more. So I just slept more. I also thought I was probably working too much because I did 6 days in a row. And I was like, well, I did have one day off because I was sick. Little did I know that was maybe period related. We're not sure. We are sure that I was depressed because I was on my period, but we're not sure about my recent dizzy episode and why I went home. Well, I know why I went home because I had dizziness, but I had these weird episodes. So Hormonal things being hormonal things, there's about fucking 20 million symptoms of PMDD, right? Let me get them up. Okay. So a lot of them are... sorry, I haven't remembered them. Don't be silly. I've got them on my phone. So a lot of the PMS ones are quite similar. So headaches for both, right? Bloating, both. These are all both, so I don't have to keep saying both. Cramping, insomnia, acne. Oh, I didn't have fucking insomnia, did I? Acne. Oh yeah, I did have 2 spots actually. Oh my god, guys, it's all coming together. I was like, I never get spots. Why have I got spots? I had 2 spots and it all makes sense now. Breast tenderness. I did have some I had some weird booby stabbing pains the other day, but I think it was a while ago, so I don't know whether that's really related. Sugar cravings, fucking story of my life. Irritability, yeah, I mean, patients were kind of annoying me a bit. Mood swings. Oh my god, Tom was really annoying me, my boyfriend, one day, and I was like, oh god, I really hate you right now. And I was like, oh, I never really hate him. What's going on? You know when things just make sense? You're just like, wow, how did I miss this for so long? Hindsight is a great thing, is it not, my lord? Anxiety, it's literally the story of my life. Depression, apparently in both. Sleep disturbance. Okay. And then we move on to PMDD, which is, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Sorry. I guess you could put depressive disorder in there too. And then PMS is, or PMT. It says PMS, but then it says premenstrual tension syndrome, which is not what it would be. PTS. Anyway, whatever. Premenstrual syndrome. Okay, then the PMDD ones, right? Just those ones on their own. Bouts of rage. Joint pain. I did have some back pain. The thing is, right, these are pretty vague, aren't they? I could have back pain for a number of reasons. I hate being like, oh, I have this symptom, it must be that, right? No, sometimes it's not. Like, oh, I have a headache, it must be a hemorrhage in my brain. Like, no, most likely it isn't, right? And that's the problem. I don't want to be like, oh, it must be my period. But I mean, it's, okay, let's just say it is. But yeah, I did have pain in my back, but like not in the usual period zone. And you gals will know what I mean. Like that lower back pain, like kind of where your coccyx area is, but like a bit higher. This was like where my kind of kidney would be. And I was like, do I have a kidney problem? But my weeing was fine. And, I just start like over analysing, like diagnosing basically my own issues. Hot flashes. I mean, I'm hot quite a lot, so, and the fucking temperature was wild recently. Extreme fatigue, 100%. Like, asleep all the time. I don't like sleeping that much. I just feel like, what am I doing? I'm just lying in bed and sleeping like all the time, for fuck's sake. But bouts of extreme sadness. Teek. I was just really sad. Didn't want to do anything. I was like, no. I just want to... I didn't want... This is the difficulty with like depression, is sometimes you don't want to talk to people or be around people, but you also don't want to be alone. Go figure. Sometimes you don't want to watch TV or do anything, but you also don't want to not do anything. Again, great. Fucking great. Sometimes you want to be in bed, but you don't want to be in bed. And I feel like people who don't have depression don't get that. But it's like you kind of just want to be nothing. Like maybe asleep. I think I said that once. I don't want to be alive, but I don't want to be dead. And then I was like, oh, maybe I just want to be asleep. But I don't know. It's just like I just want to be nothing. Like I just want to fucking not be anything. So, but you feel like you can't... I don't want to sleep all the time. But also, and that's when I took myself for a dog walk, because I was like, I don't want to watch more TV. I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything else. So I'm just going to go for a walk. And that was great. I told you about that in my last ep. I was like, it was fucking great. And there were no people there and I was having a great time. I mean, all of these are kind of symptoms of depression, these next ones. So extreme fatigue, appetite changes, difficulty concentrating, feelings of hopelessness, suicidal thoughts. I don't think I didn't have any of those. Bouts of extreme sadness, decreased interest in usual activities. I had all of those minus suicidal thoughts. Didn't want to kill myself this time, so that's good. But I get this like feeling of just, I don't know, I have no motivation to do anything, but I also don't want to do nothing. So I'm like, I just did the crossword, which makes me sound like a real old lady. But if you don't know, there's a New York Times game app. Go download it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's got the daily Wordle on it, which was all the rage probably a while ago now. It looks like that. I'm pointing to it on the screen. You might not be able to see it, but it's the one that my finger's pointing to. If you're listening on the podcast, by the way, I do have a YouTube video. It's literally just my voice and you can see me and my fun facial expressions and me showing you what an app looks like. But I mean, it's called NYT Games, New York Times Games. It's not that hard. But I've been really fucking obsessed with it recently. I've been doing the spelling bee. I've been doing the daily mini. By the way, if you do the daily mini, tell me. Maybe we can add each other on the game. Oh. Okay, I was just like, oh my god, you can go watch my YouTube channel while the fucking camera died. I'm telling you, I think it's that battery. I think I might decommission that battery. I'm going to put a sign on it, because it's actually back on charge now. I'm going to put like a big fucking X on it to say, don't use this, Dawn, because you will regret it. And there we go. There it is. I was showing you my New York Times app. It probably hasn't saved that video, or at least the end of the video. I'm going to charge it anyway. At least now I've identified the culprit. Because I had a dud battery the other day that just died. And I was like, cool, okay, bye. And I don't know what happened to it. I just thought, maybe I didn't charge it fully, right? But no, I'm telling you, this one was fully charged. I charged it yesterday. I've only been going half an hour. The little fucker should be able to manage it. So that one's probably going in the bin. So it just honestly enrages me, because it doesn't just cut off where I was talking from. What it does, I know this is such a non-issue for you. Look at you with no problems in the world. No, I'm joking. Everybody has problems. Look at you with no camera battery problems. Probably. I mean, you might have camera battery problems. What happens is the camera... Okay, this is really fucking boring, but I've started, so I'm going to finish because someone might be interested. What happens is the camera records for 30 minutes, and then I have to reset it. Sometimes you don't see it because I cut it out. So I reset the video at... Anyway, no, I just told you that. But what happens is it records it in it's something like 5 gig parts. It might be in 5 minutes, or anyway, it records, even though it records one for 30 minutes at a time, what happens is it splits the video into 4, right? So for half an hour I get 4 videos. Now what will happen is, I don't know how, it doesn't record for however long and then just cut off. What it will do is it will delete the whole video. It just won't save, it won't delete it, but it just won't save the whole video that it died on. So let's hope it was at the start of a new section rather than at the end of a new section. So that's what I hope and pray for. But often I just have to fill it with a cute little sunset. So thanks for sticking through that if you saw the sunset and came out the other side. It's real kind of you. I fully appreciate it. Here's a thumbs up from me. So what was I even talking about? I can't remember now. I was talking about how much I loved crosswords. I often say, look, when you're down in the dumpies, fucking do what you like. Like, I get that there's a merit in saying, you know, you can't do what you want all the time, Dawn. Right, we get that. But we're not making accounts for, like, special cases where me or someone else is feeling like shit, right? So when people are feeling shit, I just think, you know, eat what you want within reason. Do what you want within reason, you know, nothing illegal. And when I say eat what you want within reason, I mean, like, nothing illegal, you know, no humans or whatever. But also, don't, like, go cray. You don't want to make yourself feel like shit. But, like, if you want a fucking chocolate bar and you are crying, eat a chocolate bar. Whatever. You can call me a little fatty. I don't care. I literally don't. Because that's just being nice to yourself. You want a chocolate bar? I mean, you only have to watch Harry Potter or read it to know that chocolate cures depression. So, but that was a joke. I don't want people to actually think it cures depression. But it does help. It releases endorphins, which is fucking great. And also exercise. So I guess, like, let's talk about what you do when you have this. Because otherwise, maybe I could do that as a second episode. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll just, like, do it, chop it now. And then, yeah, wow. See you in the next episode.